One, and we have Yosef, Michael, Jimmy, Jane, Ross, Tim, Dean, and we got Tanya and Bob. And you can check if we have some issues. And welcome everyone. And then, as usually, we invite anyone who feels ready, curious, open to see how the non-duality pointing comes through you. Anyone for taking? Jane, would you like to?
No, not today.
Not today. Okay, no worries. Anyone else? A couple of words to start us off? A few minutes? No. Okay, no worries. So, as usually, we're gonna be starting from the fact that you already are existent, conscious, and happy to be. So there is the beginning, middle, and an end, and there is not much else to say apart from if there is anyone who feels any doubt about your own existence, you can very quickly verify. Are you existing? Yes. Or perhaps doubt of being conscious. Anyone in coma? No. And perhaps a doubt whether you have any love of being or appreciation. That's self-evident. Nobody seems to have a knife on your wrists. So at the moment there may be a time in the memory which is now. But yes, so this is it. This is the reality. The reality in Hindu scriptures called Sat Chit Ananda, which is being conscious and having appreciation for the aliveness and consciousness, loving to be, or contentment of being, the ease of being. In Christian scriptures, that's called omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience, and it is attributed to a higher power or God or Big Daddy in the sky, or whatever the imagery are on that, that the omnipresence is attributed. But if you really look and think, I'm just going to move it because I don't see Jimmy. If you really look at the nature of the pointer of omnipresence, it doesn't mean that this is a presence of someone, but not you. Omnipresence is total presence. So everything that is present, including inanimate objects, planets, air, including thoughts, feelings, and emotions, anything that has a presence, belongs to that omnipresence and is inseparable from the omnipresence. So that's what the alleged God is. But the moment you paint it an image, of course it feels like, no, that's not I. But the pointer is the same. Omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience is like Satchitananda. It really is almost a direct translation. The omnipresence is being, the omniscience is knowing, Satchit. And loving to be, or the every power or any power of the omnipotence, is that motivation behind everything that moves the life, which is always the love of being. There is nothing that anyone would ever do if not for the love of being. The self-protection, the fear, the anxiety, the guilt, the anger, the resentment, everything is the love of being. Why would I ever be angry if not for the love of being, love for respect? Why would I ever be fearful if there was no affection towards the preservation of life? So behind every motivation is the love of being, which is the omnipotence in the Christian scriptures. In other scriptures, they say it. In Buddhism, they say there is ever fresh. How was the whole thing? Ever fresh presence awareness. Just this and nothing else. And there is nothing else, they say. So in like Jewish or Muslim religions, there is a God, you can call it Jehovah or Yahweh or Allah, and there is none other. There is nothing other. There is only that and nothing else. So they say that apart from that, the three factors or that trinity of the omnipotence, omniscience, omnipresence, there is nothing else. But we look around and it feels like there is plenty of things. So the Hindu scripture define it as this is an illusion, a maya, name and form, labels that we put on things. They still have presence that belongs to omnipresence. They still seem to have a power, a seeming power, like a seeming power of thoughts or something. But they still they're still part of that omnipotence or that loving to be, but they appear as other. They appear as nama rupa, they call it, name and form. The form that in Buddhist scriptures again is the transformation of emptiness. It is the emptiness. It is the. Now we struggle with the sound. Okay. Yes, so that's the basics and the beginning. You are already conscious, aware of it, present, and loving to be. So the reality, which is this godliness, is already your direct experience right here, right now. You can't separate yourself from that reality. You are that reality. And description of what you are is already too far away from the experience, because the direct experience of existence does not need the description. It does not have any qualities. You can't say whether being a reality is it means being big or low or high or confident or not good enough. It doesn't have qualities. It doesn't have properties. It can't really be grasped by any words, especially that we that we that we've already said that the words are the name and form. The words are Maya, the illusion. So describing what you are, defining what you are, is moving away from that experiencing into the illusion. When I say I am, that's the direct translation of the experience. But when I say I am this, or I am that, or I am a woman, or I am a person, or I am a human, that's already moving from the reality of existence into the name and form, nama rupa, giving myself a definition. And therefore just trading unborn Buddha mind for the thought. I'll just wait for. Okay. Yes. So it is simple. We can see how, in which way that unborn Buddha mind, that emptiness becomes form, in which way the direct, immediate experience of existence, of experiencing yourself as an existence in consciousness and bliss without even before, even prior to, even we put any labels on it, just the certainty of being, how that get translated into the illusion. How the reality of existence become the illusion of being a me, being a person, being an individual, being in the body, trapped in the body or in the conditioned mind. And it is an incredible illusion. It's a beautiful dream. And there is no need for that dream to end. There is no need for that dream to change. It's changing anyway, of its own, of itself. But to recognize how it happens, how the pure existence, which is directly experienced, is transformed into the dream of me, brings the incredible amount of freedom and joy in life, because now seeing how the mirage is formed, seeing how the rainbow comes on the sky, and knowing that that has nothing to do with the seeing itself. It doesn't make you a mirage or a rainbow. It doesn't make you a person who is perceiving a mirage or a rainbow. They are appearances in the seeing. The body is also appearance in the seeing. The dream of being a person, individual, is also an appearance in the seeing. And the seeing is always here. It's never not here. It's not clouded by that which appears in it or on it. So you are already free. You are already blatantly aware and undeniably certain of your existence. And you can see how moment to moment that existence gets translated through the lens of the individual into a story or a dream of me. You can see how pure existence, if you have a good day, translates to a story of, yeah, my life's fine, I'm quite happy, I'm all right. And when you have the bad day, then it translates to, yeah, the world is hostile, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this, nobody loves me. And depending on the 10,000 things around, on the whole dance, that dream is more or less believed into a reality. And in this way, the pure reality, which is the Sat Chit Ananda, the pure existence, fools itself, or dreams itself of being the other. And even that, when it happens, is registered. Being completely swayed, I speak with people and sometimes they say, yes, but I'm absolutely convinced I'm a person. I had the glimpses, but very quickly mind comes and says, I had those glimpses. A person had the glimpses. So now I'm fully convinced. But even that conviction is registered in the pure witnessing capacity, in a pure seeing, pure knowing. So even when that complete entrapment in the seeming cage of concepts is experienced and believed to be real, there is a capacity, there is the registering or witnessing, knowing of it. And that registering or witnessing or seeing is not trapped. Like the seeing, there is a rainbow appearing. The seeing is not a rainbow. The rainbow is an appearance. And the moment you objectify the rainbow, you straight away, I mean, you're not doing it. It's just the nature of the projector. It objectifies also a subject perceiving it. Oh, it is seen from this angle, from this viewpoint, and that's me, the subject. But really, you take the binocular and the subject sees something else. Or you take a microscope and it sees something else. The seeming reference point that arises when the attention is focused doesn't prove the existence of any entity anywhere. Life can take seeming reference points infinitely. And you can say you can even witness how the identity depends on the 10,000 things. How even the getting up in the morning and being optimistic or being pessimistic depends on the 10,000 things, on the diet, on the condition of the body, on the weather, on infinite amount of factors. So how could that image be separated from the whole show, whole shebang, like Tanya says? It is part of the dream. And seeing how the dream comes into existence, seeing is untouched. Seeing how the dream is believed into reality, seeing is again untouched. And in the direct experience, what are you? Are you the cage of concepts, the mental projection that is changing depending on the diet and 10,000 other things? That has changed when you were a child and is different when you are in a good mood or a bad mood, or someone offends you, someone praises you? Or are you the clear seeing, the pure seeing, the seeing that doesn't speak, it doesn't have concepts, it's just here, it's just present, pure seeing, knowing, being knowing. In that being knowing, the ideas come and go, the beliefs come and go, the opinions come and go, the attachment to opinions, the defending of the opinions, all those behaviors come and go. The idea comes, I believe, what was it, this when we were speaking about someone who was a newborn Christian. So the idea of being newborn, or the strategy of dealing with reality through that particular lens. Or the idea, people get pretty fanatic about diets. They get fanatic about different medications. And adopting those sorts of ideas, or getting infected by this type of a virus and having this lens through which life experiences and expresses itself. What a fascinating dream. And then seeing how that lens is changing over time and is constantly fluctuating.
And even if it comes with a strong belief that this is my idea, and this is not just an idea, this is the truth, this is the reality. Jesus is your savior, or you should only eat fish or not pig, or only pig and not fish, or whatever. So this being curious about the way the whole dream unfolds, being interested in a way your own projector deals and creates the dream after the dream, is the most fascinating adventure that life can serve to itself. Because even without that, even if you are on a mission to convert everyone to your belief system, that's still life serving itself an incredible dream. And that even that incredible dream is registered. But the amount of freedom is rather little. Is slaving to a thought, is being a soldier of the concept. But rather than just being that relaxed space-like awareness, being that no thing, and seeing those dreamy concepts floating around, seeing where some of those concepts get more charged emotionally, or get more attachment, that life essence that is fueling them, and get more defended through the dream character, and seeing the dream character arising and falling away. It's a dream in which there is so much freedom that nothing has to be changed or touched or fixed or altered or modified or corrected. Nothing. Because the obviousness of being that space-like awareness, the obviousness of not being in charge, not being in control, not being a doer, not being a manipulator of that whole show, is even more than obvious. It doesn't even come into existence. The idea of not being a doer isn't even required, because there is no one there to be a doer. Who would be the doer or non-doer? Even if manipulation of the reality happens, and when you watch the animals or birds or insects, they will always go towards pleasure and away from pain. They will always assert their needs, roof over the head, of food, which seems like manipulating the reality for survival. But there is no story and no attachment to a story. So it's just a movement. So if that dream character moves towards one and away from another, even that is not asserted or rejected, is not approved or accepted, is not touched upon, is just registered as spontaneous activity, as spontaneous happening. And it is as spontaneous as the growing of a hair of that individual. Discovering the next thought is as spontaneous as discovering the next breath. Nobody knows what they're going to think in a next minute. Discovering that the next thought, next emotion, next behavior, next habit comes spontaneously in that space-like awareness, in that registering field of knowing, that pure being. What a dream, what a discovery, what a joy. And of course, like in a dream, everything has to appear in a dualistic way. So the idea that is quite popular on the spiritual search, especially amongst people who are really, really suffering, is the hope or a promise that when I see through the illusion of self and become awake or enlightened, I will never experience sadness or pain or grief or anger or fear, anxiety. Well, the I has never experienced anything for the first place, because there is no such thing. I is a mental construct. But the energy which is labeled as anger or fear or resentment or anything, why would that suddenly be banned from experiencing and expressing through the body that is well prepared and conditioned to put up with such a frequency of vibration? So the expectation that this body will stop defending itself and will never get angry and bark at some other bodies is ridiculous and is, frankly, outrageous, really, is silly. But they say, oh, but we have the ideals of the saints that are always assertive, and they suddenly, instead of expressing anger or barking like a dog, they will know exactly which words to use, how to communicate without violence, or they would have presence to which everyone will bow. Well, how would that body so quickly get that conditioning? That takes years of training, and some people will just frankly never even develop that quality of that confidence. So that's again outrageous, ridiculous. The idea that realizing that the self that has never existed, not yesterday, not a month ago, not 10 years ago, still doesn't exist, because that's what the awakening is. Awakening from the illusion of self running a show. But the idea that that discovery, which has always been so, will radically change the whole conditioning of the body, will change the way the body responds to the reality, will change the habitual responses or capacity for experiencing emotions. That's just nonsensical. You see the animals capable of all sorts of emotions without even having any sense of self. So the capacity for anger, sadness, fear, shame, remorse, they might still be there. Though if there is no self to claim them, they become a fascinating appearance rather than a tormenting psychological suffering. Even if the sense of, oh yeah, this body has barked at someone and it feels uneasy about it, so it now comes and admits it or apologizes. Wow, how beautiful. Well socialized body, not a psychopath. It feels uneasy when someone gets harmed. Beautiful. What's wrong with that? Instead of falling for the idea of, oh, I'm evil, I'm shameful, this is shame on me, I'm guilty, I shouldn't be even showing up, I shouldn't be dealing with anyone. This whole psychological suffering, self-pity, associated with the idea that this is me, I'm responsible, I've done it, I shouldn't have, I couldn't have, that one drops away, because suddenly the response that comes through the body is just a vibration. The label that comes with it habitually, of course, it will label it as whatever, anxiety or shame or whatever. But because it doesn't belong to me, because it isn't mine, it is just a vibration coming through that instrument. This instrument played this type of music, so this type of vibration goes through it. But it's not me, it's not mine, it's not personal. And if anything, it is a wow, this body, it just yelled at someone. Ooh, cool. Oh, it just burst out laughing. Wow, amazing. Whatever this machine, which is life itself, filtered through that particular lens, the life itself playing that particular music, what does it do? How does it do? That is to be discovered moment to moment. Just like you discover your next thought, you discover your next reaction. An idea that there will only be positive thoughts. Why? Why suddenly life would limit its own expressions to something that is called positive by who? And on which basis? How the thought, oh, it's a shitty weather, it's not a positive thought. Who said so? So the idea of judgment and suddenly converting to something that is socially approved and socially accepted as positive, it's seen for what it is. It's just another spontaneously arising concept in consciousness that nobody has, nobody does, nobody needs. It's just a magical display. And seeing the life as a magical display, moment to moment, and saying wow to every scene, to every arising, whether there is a forest arising, there is a room arising, there is a meal arising. Wow, what a dream. What an incredible display. And the presence that you are, in the presence that it is arising. There may be a concept, yes, but there is still a me. Really, really, where is it? Who is it? What is it? If not just the omnipresence. The boundaries arising, that it is small, that it has nationality. No, they're just thoughts. They're just mental projections. In the presence that you are, the mental image of I am the body arises. If that image, that mental image hasn't arisen, would you disappear? Would you not be there? You're still here, whether the image is present or absent. So you are prior to the image of me. You weren't born with the image of me. So the image of me is something that is just a part of the dream. It belongs to the dream. It is the Namarupa. It is the name and form. And it happens within the omnipresence, omnipotence, omniscience. So you are already that presence. In that presence, the concept arises. Oh, I don't quite get it. Oh, I still didn't awake. Oh, there must be some future time in which things will be better, more pleasant, and I will be more peaceful or less anxious. The I that is anxious is not who you are. There is no one there. The anxiety is the wave of energy. You take a label of it and see what it really is. Experience it fully. Bob has this beautiful pointer about mainly about fear. He was applying it to other emotions also, but mainly in regards to fear and anxiety. Go right into it. Take a label off, feel the energy vibrating in the body, and just fearlessly go right into it, amplify it, and see where it takes you. The worst that can happen is you're gonna lose the consciousness for a few seconds. What a big deal. And we had people here coming to the meetings many, many times who said, yep, nothing's gonna happen. You can call the mind on its bluff. The consciousness is not even gonna go away. And even if you are open, okay, I'm so terrified, I'm so fearful, I'm gonna lose the consciousness. Wow, okay, go for it, please. Yeah, I'll have a 3-second nap. Don't do it while driving. But it never happened to many, many people that I've seen. The same thing with any other emotion. Emotion is just a movement. The energy in motion is just a vibration. Emotion doesn't have to be suppressed. It doesn't have to be expressed. If you're feeling rage, don't go and take a stone and hurt someone. Don't suppress it because the body will somatize it. But experiencing, just taking the label off and just really discovering every single component of every movement of life through the body vibrating, whether it is fear or anger or resentment or sadness, there is a subtle physical components to it that are begging to be experienced and embraced rather than suppressed or rather than acted upon. Discovered, heard fully, embraced fully, seen as the fluctuation of the breath. Bob would say it is a lump in the throat or not in the gut. Just see what it is. Just let it be there. Be curious. Be fascinated. And then, as it disappears, what's wrong with it? What's wrong without it? The dream, you are like empty screen, sky-like, the pure presence. Within that presence, the thought arises, the emotion arises, the scenery arises, the behavior arises, the response, the reaction. Bob would make a distinction between the response and reaction, just for the sake of pointing and for the sake of inspiration, because there is no one there. So there is also no one there to have a choice between one and the other. But if there is, in that field of resonating, there is a resonance with the inspiring idea that, if there is a bubbling energy coming up, just pause and experience it fully, and then give a response, rather than just like a bull falling the red blanket, just charge. There's no one there. There's no one who can inspire a bull, but we can all get inspired to just living from that heart, rather than the reactivity, rather than constantly inflamed survival instinct, which is frankly in today's society the mind, because the fight, flight, freeze response that is triggered in so many people, if you ask your AI of statistics of mental illness, suicide, antidepressants going skyrocketing, and the triggers really for it is not enough likes on the Facebook. Is that really a response, justified survival response, or is it the mind? The mind creating a situation of fear or anxiety, or fear of rejection, or out of triggers that are really unreasonable. So this is the human condition that is getting more and more difficult. In those cases, there is more and more unnecessary suffering that begs for investigation. And again, self-organizing universe sometimes provides that suffering, because the suffering is such a wonderful incentive and motivation for investigation. Sometimes that suffering is necessary, is required. And even that is just a story, because everything in this dream is a story. And we are story-loving creatures, exchanging the stories. Every pointer is just another story, is another set of words, is another way of stating the obvious, to bring the resonation, to enjoy the remembering, recognizing. I think that's enough for the introduction.
Just what a magnificent instrument you are. Gosh. Yeah, nothing much. But the programs, the conditioning, the learning that once perhaps was necessary for survival, are now surplus to requirements, but continue and have energy of belief still directed at them. But they are exactly that. They are, in fact, none of it really was ever necessary. It's all commentary and part of the story. But when you have, as you say, when you watch the mind, see how it functions, and you're awake to what's occurring, well, then that's just wow. And as you say, the mind wants to name all seeming emotions and feelings, label it, immediately limiting it, and going into a belief you have about it. But if you sit with it, be the space for it, then instead of in the imagination and projecting, what's going to get, then it is just what's happening now. And it, given the space, allowed to express fully without charging like the bull or running in the opposite direction, then allowing it as if anyone could allow. But it's so freeing. It brings that lightness that can be is experienced in the body. It's all the same thing being expressed in different ways. Yeah, thank you. It's just so gorgeous, such a privilege, just bliss to just sit here and listen to it play out. Tubes with holes in it. That's all we are.
That's all we are, yeah, and so many holes. Oh.
Yeah, I also like that part with the emotional stuff and the mind. Also what you said, Tanya, the story of the talking comes into usually emotions. They're more uncomfortable, and there's more story and more mind chatter. But what's underneath it is like the emotions of feeling uncomfortable and the label of, oh, is there something wrong with that situation, rather than there could be in certain parameters of society and things happen wrong and not injustice and things like that. But it's usually with the emotion that come up first, and then they're looking at it in the mind. So, but then, yeah, with the feeling being okay with the uncomfortable, for example, emotions, that once it's lived through it, it sort of disappears, and there's less mind. I feel like for me it was more like the mind. It's sort of like a defensive mechanism of, oh, this is happening, fear happening. Wants to understand it. But yeah, I experienced it lately a lot more of the emotion stuff, and I'm noticing my body is more relaxed in it, and not so much needing to talk, which is pretty nice. So yeah, that's my 2 cents to it. Yeah, but I like that part with that, and it's interesting for me. It's like there's no school to teach it. I didn't learn that in school. That is, I think, quite interesting that they don't teach that in society. No. And then it's like how to learn it. Yeah, unlearn it, but how to do it? Like there was sort of, yeah, it's a discovery, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. There's no more birds at the moment. Yeah. I don't really have much to say. I guess something that come to mind is what Bob used to say. He always used to say, just look within. Don't go to someone else for an answer. No word can describe what you are. Really, there's nothing to do, nothing to seek. No amount of words that can tell you what you are. So that's all I've got.
Exactly. Well, that's why the meetings used to start with, "I don't teach you anything. I don't tell you anything." Exactly for that. And if you you don't have to. There's nothing that anyone can do. You can do whatever. Like doing's happening. You can't control the next thing that happens. There's no control. There's no one running the show. There's no free will. It just appears that way. It's a dream, and the dreams. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing thing that's going on. There's no one that actually knows it. There is no one as such. It's one essence, expressing, patterning, forming as every person, everything, every object, every cloud, every blade of grass, and within that dream, within that appearance, is a whole apparent me in a conundrum trying to get out of this me, which is but it never was, and yet that's how it appears, and the appearance is an appearance. It's dreamlike. It's in there and it's not. If you can sit there and you can dismantle these words. You can dismantle. You can undress the whole of society. You can undress your whole conditioning, because it's all just a pattern of words, the whole story, and you just see that there is no story. There's actually no story. There's just a bunch of words, and what is a society? A tribe, a bunch of people, a bunch of rules, a society, a state, a nation, a continent, all this kind of stuff. And it goes on and on with rules and regulations, and one of the biggest ones is that I was born and I'm going to die. And it's a consensual. It's there's a apparent consensus that this is what's going on. But if you dismantle all of that, just a bunch of words, rules, regulations, and your actions and responses are sometimes seem to be blended, because there's no separation. There's one thing going on, appearing as all these rules and regulations and societies and conditionings, and there's actually not even that. There's just this, and that's all there is, and that's all there ever has been, and this is always immediate, spontaneous, and bang, now. And within this nowness, within this immediacy, everything is apparently all the stories of all the contrasts, all the goods and bads and rights and wrongs and lefts and rights and ups and downs and ins and outs are all sort of appearing right now, and none of it is true. There's no truth to any of it. As such, there's no actual substance, yet it's appearing to be substantial, and appearing to be real, and appearing to be like that. So, I guess seriously, what the hell? I mean, this appearance is just, it's talking like there's no one talking. There's no one listening as such. There really isn't. I mean, I understand that we can all agree that there's a talker and there's a listener and there's this and that. There can seem to be this agreement. You break that down and it's just this, appearing as, you can't even say it. I'll say it's appearing as this one talking and this one listening or whatever. But that's an idea too, without the label. If there's a little baby here and there's no words, it's just goo goo gaga, it's just vibrations, energy moving in a certain way. That's actually what's going on, and everything else, all the labels is a story on top of the thisness, the nowness, the immediacy. So and in that everything is resolved. There can't be a problem. There's no problem maker. There's no cause. There's no effect. There's no right or wrong. There's nothing to be fixed. Nothing that needs changing, because everything is appearing in a certain way. Like even you said before, like it may appear bad in a certain area of society. Exactly. In a certain area of society. In a different area of society, it may appear good. In a different time, it may appear perfect. Or in another time, it may appear tragic. In another moment, or through another lens. And this lens and this so-called machinery thing that's going on, like sometimes you describe it as this machine and like the machinery. What is this machinery that's making this lens appear as though it's a certain way? I mean, we were talking about, a friend of mine who's got electrodes in his brain, and we can press the remote and just move it at like a tiny frequency this way or a tiny wavelength that way. And all of a sudden, you can be like this. Oh, everything's good, everything's happy. And then turn it down a little bit. Oh, what's that? Like that's This is like happening. This is like just normal science. It's like I can see it in front of me. This is just a little example. It perfectly depicts how can this lens actually dictate what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, how I'm experiencing life, or how I'm not experiencing, what emotions I'm. Well, I've got to go into these emotions. I've got to go deeply into these emotions and understand them. And that's just another idea too. They just come, they just go, they're just fleeting. There's no one controlling it. There's absolutely no one controlling it. And as you can tweak these little electrodes and change the whole lens of perception, from good to bad, from right to wrong, from happy to sad. That's pretty crazy. So the whole of creation, the whole of everything, the whole universe and beyond is creating this lens. So shit, you're at the mercy of it. Who's at the mercy of the lens? How can anything be at the mercy of the lens? A lens that's allowing the appearance to appear in this manner, or that manner, or that manner, or that manner. My goodness, I pay my homage to the lens. He could do that. He could be, the lens is paying homage to itself, but there's no actual, it's wildly just, you can't go, where can you go with this? If you start, it just collapses on itself. And then these groups are good opportunities to, good time to have fun and bask in the nowness, the nothingness of everything, and the joy of the beingness itself, the aliveness, life itself, appearing, patterning, shaping, forming, expressing itself through, very beautifully articulated descriptions and pointers, and like from Kat and from Bob and from other people, and then blundered, these kind of expressions coming out of this mouth at this moment. It's one big great show. So, has anyone got any arguments with this? Or this is a serious matter here. So, if anyone's got any objections, raise your hand, put the mic, and good, go for it.
Yeah, it all seems to go on swimmingly, doesn't it? Nothing ever happens. I'm driving down the highway a few days ago, and there's this horrible monster called a raptor. You know, a raptor?
Ranger.
A ranger, is it? A raptor.
Yeah.
It decides to pass the car I'm driving and insert itself sideways in front of me. It seems that there was a problem with the lens. The lens that was operating the GPS system, it has this effect. As you're coming up to pass one of those large trucks on the highway, and you get closer to it, it already adjusts the brakes, and you slow down. You can't do anything with it. You can't do anything. You're getting slower and slower. You get in this situation. Anyway, this raptor comes along and says, I can pass this car and get in between the truck, which is pretty good, because he had to turn 90 degrees in there. Now, I suddenly realised that I've got a left foot, and it sometimes jumps on the brake. And then this time, I jumped around in the cabin looking for the brake. It was there somewhere. And I start hitting the brake, and the van starts jumping up and down, and the raptor's going up, and a raptor split into about 4 pieces, and everything's jumping up and down in this lens. I don't know what's going on. It's all weird. It's off the charts, off the charts of normalcy. And then suddenly things go back to normal. And I think, well, I wonder what that was. Golly gosh. Or words to that effect. But it was just crazy. It, like the world just split up into a few different pieces, jumped up and down, then went back to normal. And somehow this raptor survived and disappeared quietly into the space somewhere. And that was it. Didn't make any sense at all what happened. But it makes a good story.
I think I will here.
We have hello messages and good morning messages from various locations. Hi everyone. And Julia says, how we feel each day varies based on the food essence in the body, as Nisargadatta would put it. It is not who or what we are. None of it is personal. Absolutely. And John says, well said for that which makes no claim of its own. And James says, Kat and Tanya, what a great joy to hear you both keep the message of pure awareness alive in these meetings you hold. Thank you, James. Thank you, Tanya. And Danilo says, you are just, capital just, repeating as a parrot what Bob's small letter, have said in his life. Yeah, what a lovely concept. Yeah, some love it, some hate it. Bob actually loved it, but Bob says capital letter, not small. And just, maybe that's the expression.
Fresh and new every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even with Bob never repeated himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was always fresh and he was always different. Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. The spiel. Right?
Oh.
And fresh and new and vital.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, don't reach for that, planned speech or whatever. It's got no vitality. What comes in the moment. So to in a way, to believe that anyone can parrot anyone in that sense is nonsense.
No, it's just a projection. It's just a projector that is projecting, that there is a person who has the capacity to learn and parrot. There's no one there, even in you. And Danilo says, James answering to Danilo, that's what you think. Maybe you are the parrot repeating the thoughts.
Beautiful.
That's a projection. And look, everybody resonates with who they resonate. And there were people, they were really, and I was even picking the phones from people and receiving emails or receiving letters from people who viciously hated and vilified Bob. Some of those things I wouldn't even pass on to him. Why bother him? Why waste time? So I think he didn't like Bob either. He wouldn't even spell his name with a capital letter. So I don't know what you do on his page. Just go somewhere where you resonate. If there is such place, you may resonate with some different lenses, maybe newborn Christians, something. Yeah, just life will direct itself, and the dream will end. In 100 years, nobody's gonna even remember who you resonate or not. Yeah. And of course, these meetings, nobody is doing it for no reason. They just what's happening. And if there is resonation, wonderful. If there isn't, equally wonderful. There's no one who cares. They will be, and this is what I promised Bob, they will be appearing and showing up as long as there is an interest and there is curiosity. And they won't, because when it is not, because there is no one who has any preference in regards to that. And Julia says, it is liberating to go through life knowing that all is well and nothing affects us in an absolute sense. There is nothing wrong and nothing to worry about. Only our thoughts cause fear and worry. Absolutely. Believing in thoughts, believing in judgments, believing in ideas, that's the only slavery. If I believe that, Bob was right and we are wrong, or Hitler was right and Mother Teresa was wrong, and now suddenly I construct the I, I know the truth. And there is a closeness, there is no openness, and there is a suffering, there is a confinement. Believing in thoughts, only thoughts cause fear and worry. Thank you, Julia. And Danilo is being abusive to James. I'm not gonna read it. And Julia says, a me trying to get out of a me. Well said, Dean. Absolutely. Isn't it fun? Isn't it? Yeah, it is all light. It's all joy. And that's it for the online contributions. Anyone? Anything coming up? Jimmy, give us something. Give us.
Make sure it's good.
Yeah.
Good and truthful.
Yeah. Only ever gospel comes out of these lips. Most of the session this morning, there's been like a tension or a heaviness, just sitting here with me. But at the same time, like a spaciousness. And it's funny hearing everyone's different things be said while feeling different things within myself. And then, Ross, you spoke about the raptor, and then the chaos and confusion in your story, and then my tension was gone. And it was funny how the different things and the absurdity of it all lift and change before your eyes without you having to do anything.
And also, I thought it was really lovely, Kat's spiel. And I think some pointers resonate, and it doesn't matter who they're from, they resonate eternally, and those pointers have been around for a very long time, the ones that Kat was reiterating that came out of the alleged Bob. But they'd been around and for a very long time. And what I loved when Bob was, towards the end of his mortal existence, and I said, when you're gone, Bob, we're going to be speaking your words. He said, no, you'll be speaking everyone's words, because words belong to everyone. And so they're not, because, we're sitting here and we're saying all is one, so that they don't belong to any entity because there isn't one. So I thought Kat's spiel was beautiful.
I'd love to hear you again one day. When you up.
I'm just sitting here chilling, seeing some unraveling not quite happening.
Unraveling not quite happening.
Yes, I can feel like
My mic?
so I can feel like a sort of nervous excitement in one part of the body, and then not too clear what it connects with, something to do with work. Sometimes there's a revealed scenario, sometimes there's a revealed emotion, sometimes it's not. There's just all sorts of different stuff in there unravels. But that one's been sticking around for about a week and doesn't show up much. Korean dramas show up more on the TV in front. But then also thoughts that come in a package, and there's no way of knowing connection, causality. It's sort of nab which comes first sometimes, but sort of a package around, they'll for just lying there on a too musty bed watching videos for 2 days, sort of thing, because but then nothing arises around needing to drop the whole checklist thing, although it is dissipating. Just thoughts arise, but you don't like say, oh, well, that's going to cause the A, B, and C. Thought just might pop up like, oh, there's less visceral reaction around haven't done that checklist now than there used to be. Or a half thought might pop up that makes another activity pop up that tends to dissipate stuff. And maybe a little notion of miraculousness that one actually showed up and then dissipation happened might show. But it's always just, there's no thought that any connections are known, or they're not showing up as such anyway. Those thoughts aren't showing up, so if they are known or not, who knows? You really only got what shows up. That's really it. And so no assumptions can be, absolutely no assumptions can be made.
Beautifully said.
And that's why I like Ross's story so much, because it's just a direct description of experience. And it kind of shows, when everything is so discombobulated that no meaning is arising, then that takes you to that place of nothing going on,
Yeah.
Michael.
Well, Ross's story triggered a memory in me as well, in a similar situation when I was driving home on a drive that I'd done hundreds of times before and missed my turn, and then ended up in peak hour traffic in a lane with a big long queue of cars in Brunswick. And I thought, the in lane was empty, but there were parked cars over the other side of the light. So I thought, well, I'll just go up there, I'll put my foot down, I'll get past all that traffic and turn at the next one. So I got down there and I stopped at the lights, and then I thought, right, as soon as that goes green, I've got to hit my foot to the floor fast as possible and get out. And so I did that. And then at the same time, there was a bike, like a kid on a bike, riding across against the light. So the lights had gone green, but he was riding it on the pedestrian. And the car next to me was right there. And my car was here. Now, I've put my foot down, so I should be over there. But at the same time, he's looking at me and I'm looking at him. We're just looking at each other like this. It's like time stopped. Wow. And somehow I'm over the other side of the intersection and he's on the footpath over there. It was like, and at the time, because it was a long time ago, I think it's a miracle. That didn't happen. No, it's just time slowed down. Time slowed down and everything. But I had my foot down. I actually put my foot down. That's impossible. And it took months and months before I, thinking of it. And then it's just like, and then I gave it meaning. I gave it a lot of meaning, because that means miracles can happen, and there's more going on here than what I understand. But it's just a story. But it's a lovely story.
I don't have to be called miracles.
Yeah, things that seem miraculous, but based on our education or witnessing throughout our lives. Sure, it can happen. I mean, I've had one or two myself, but it's like everything's in the same boat, exactly the same boat. So, like, no meaning arises about that either. No meaning arises about I'm being non-dual right now because nothing arose. It's exactly the same as catching the bus. It's exactly the same as a miracle. It's exactly the same as a ghost that somebody, that has to be a ghost according to these other descriptions out there. But none of it's special. None of it is not special. It's just all pop, 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 pop. It's neutral, all of it.
It is.
Yes, it is neutral.
Could I just talk about this other incident that happened? There was just about as miraculous. This little apparition that's come into the world, her name's Mary Rose, and she was born about 3 months ago, and her mother had a lot of trouble conceiving the child, and then had a lot of trouble in hospital. So her mother her name's Clemence, her mother's name's Clemence as well. But her mother was up there supporting her daughter for day after day after day. And the only message we got back was that she wasn't, the child's not well. And she'd gone through a lot, and it was a dramatic situation, and it kept going on and on and on. And suddenly it's all blown over, and you've got this little being, Mary Rose. And so little Clemmy is about 6 foot tall, but anyway, she's little Clemmy, and the other Clemmy is her mother, the grandmother. So this beautiful little being just appears there, and then she's saying, "Oh, you can pick her up and hold her," but it's like this little literal bundle of joy, and she's radiant, and the eyes are, they're like diamonds, and the way they sparkle. And then she's controlling the situation. She's she's got her arms and she's clinging on, and it's just the antithesis of the first situation, which was sort of confusion, chaos, terror, everything happening all at once. And this is pure joy. And she's saying, "I'm here," and everybody knows it. And, she'd make noises, but she wouldn't make any words. It didn't matter though. She was quite happy making those noises. It's just sheer beauty and love and joy. A little bundle of joy, literally. Yeah, so that's another little diamond of experience, I suppose.
Yeah, and in the story, human story of time, one day she'll learn words. And she'll learn those words from their parents and the society, and she may learn a couple of languages, and she'll be parroting someone else's words. That's how learning happens. It happens through imitation, through parroting. The emotions are learned this way. The facial responses are learned. The whole conditioning shows up this way. And I see we have everything. You bugger.
Thought, Dino.
It's a thought. Yeah. So Tanya says, exactly, words have no owner. All is valid in the appearance, as it is said. And then again, the meanings of the words are also, how do we know, even when the word is said, that it means the same to everyone? How do we know there is really everyone? Even that is not provable. It's all beyond provability. It's just the direct experiencing. The words are experience. I can say blue and you agree is blue, okay, but how do we know we see the same color? How do we know we understand the same metaphor? I've seen so many times, too many times, ridiculous situations when the room would be full and Bob would be speaking and someone would be asking questions. Even I asked question Bob once before I was even opened my mouth, because I was so socially anxious and withdrawn that there was just the one instance in the 2 years of showing up on the meetings that I found enough courage to actually ask a question. But I've seen people speaking on the meetings and asking Bob to confirm some of their deep-rooted, deep-seated beliefs on reincarnation or on diets or on anything. And Bob would dispel them straight away. The question would arise, Bob would dispel it completely. For example, question on reincarnation, he would say, what reincarnation? What is there to reincarnate? Is there anyone there to reincarnate through the lives? Isn't the life essence just like a water? You drop one drop of rain to the ocean and it merges into the ocean. Can you ever take the same drop out? You can't. And the guy would answer, thank you, Bob. I knew you would agree with me. I knew you would confirm reincarnation is real. Wow. How many times people like maybe Danilo or someone else, they have already predefined, deeply held, cherished beliefs, and they come here to get Bob, verify them, and they can't even see or hear or understand what his answer is. How could they? The mind is closed, so they're not open to resonate and to hear what's offered. And so many people, Bob would say, came through this room and made their mind about what is being said, and they would show up maybe 20 years later. Slight little chink in the armor, little opening, the things started landing. And if they didn't, who cares anyway? There is no requirement for any of those pointers to ever land. Life which is expressing through the dirty lens, the clean lens, pink lens, green lens, that life is untouched, is already pure and free and uncontaminated and unidentified. The registering capacity, whether there is a very, very strong persona, an image of right, I know what's right, this is wrong. The rigidness in the system, still the registering of it, which is available even through that rigid mechanism, is unobscured and free. And the illusion of the self being right and being rigid is still nothing but illusion. There is no one there who is trapped and need to awaken. It's just the illusion, and a life that is experiencing and reflecting itself through that illusion is free. There is nothing that needs to change, nothing that anyone needs to change, understand, liberate, nothing. It's just the recognition of the illusion. How wonderful. And if the illusion is not recognized, again, the one who cares is just a thought formation. There is no one alive there, there's no sentience. It's a mirage. The mirage that cares, oh, I still appear, I still seem to be there. It's like the blueness in the sky. Look again and you see that it appears blue, but there isn't any color anywhere. There is no blueness in the ocean. There is no blueness in the sky. The appearance of blueness is there. The appearance of the contraction may be there. Why would that contraction be called me? Oh, why not? Okay, let's call it me. So the me is there because contraction is there. Fine. It's an appearance of contraction. But when the contraction is absent, the existence, the presence is still here. When whatever is defined as me, or the sense of righteousness, I know better. I know what it means. I know what is the right religion or right style of pointing or right accent in pointing, whatever. This is me, I know. That sense of fanaticism, of course, asserts the fanatic. Of course, it asserts that, oh, there is a person, I'm that person, I'm right, and I know it. But does it really give it any reality? It does not. Appearance of the very, very strong sense of righteousness is still nothing but the appearance. And when that one is relaxed, the presence of consciousness is still here. And Bob had preferences, and Bob had viewpoints, and Bob had attachment to certain expressions, like all the flame detectors and, and fire and heat detectors around the body, and the door always locked. That was a habit of the body. That was a sense of safety that that body required, and it was asserted through those means. What's wrong with that? The behavior of the body. It doesn't assert, it doesn't constitute anyone, even though there was a behavior of attachment to that external assertion of safety. That behavior does not have any sentience. It is a preconditioned behavior. Like people have preconditioned behaviors of being overly moral or ethical or having high standards, or preconditioned behavior of constantly scanning the environment for threats or feeling very special. Those preconditioned behaviors are just what they are. They're behaviors. They are just the way that body-mind machine is asserting its survival, is experiencing its survival, is the aliveness behind wearing the costume and being everything, being a bird in the sky and being the whale in the ocean and being the wind and being a thought and being the piece of music and being a tree and a planet and a galaxy and a cell. Amazing. Amazing display. Magical. See if we have anyone else contributing. Julia says, James says to Julia. Oh, okay. We have a couple more contributions. Julia says, and people experience concepts differently based on programming, conditioning of the body-mind. Yeah, absolutely. And James says, Julia, as Bob would point out, what programming or conditioning is there if you don't think about it? Yeah, that he would say in a different context. It is both true, absolutely. And very true, Julia, says James. Good point. Yes. So you can see the conditioning in the dog, the well-trained dog versus untrained dog. And it will experience the command in a different way. But does dog experience a conditioning? It has no concept of it. There is no little doggy there inside. There is no little me that is having or not having. Is the body-mind conditioning is part of it, is inseparable from it. It is like a setting, like what Dean was saying about, the tweak in the little computer that is stimulating the brain electrodes. That tweak is a conditioning. You change the conditioning of the machine. But what is it when you don't think about it? Yeah, there is no need, because that pointer, when Bob would point to people, that there is no conditioning unless you think about it. Oh, the trauma. What trauma is there if you don't think about it? What bad childhood, what misery, what miserable future is there if you don't think about it? What past is there if you don't think about it? In the immediacy of this moment, there is none. In the experiencing, direct experiencing, without the interpretation, without the translation to the thought, there is none. There is no conditioning. But does it change the fact that the trained dog will sit and the untrained dog will not? No. In the immediacy, the behavior is still conditioned behavior, but there is no need to have a thought about it. There is no need to attach or blame the conditioning or blame the trauma or design another story. Oh, I speak this way because this happened to me and that happened to me, or I can see through because I suffered so badly, and all that stories, they to be celebrated, but just for what they are, the stories. There's no truth in the story. Stories are illustrations. Stories are fun. But there is no truth in any of it. There is no conditioning. There is no person. There is no past. There is no past trauma unless you think about it. And when you think about it, what is it? It's a thought. It's a so-called memory. But even memory is just a thought that suddenly, through the act of belief that is not yours, is just life, floating and embodying that thought, and making it to this incredible concept of the whole past in with childhood and with trauma and with all of it, right now, right in front of our eyes. And we can have another thought, another concept of another location, Sophia restaurant. Wow, suddenly it comes with the memories, it comes with the so-called past experiences. It becomes real in the mind. Of course it exists, it's there, it's 10 minutes down the road. But is it? What is it right now? It's just a thought. It's a mental image, it's the imagination. Like in one of Bob's favorite pointers of Nisargadatta, the imagination. Nothing can trouble you, ever, except in your own imagination. And imagination is the mental images of that which is not happening right now. The past trauma, childhood, not happening right now. It is happening as a story, as a memory. The Sophia restaurant, the future, not happening right now. It is happening as a story, mental image, mental projection, imagination. And what is happening right now, even if the happening right now is a persistent toothache or stomach ache or anger or anxiety, it is not the stomach ache or anxiety without the thought. It's just the presence and the vibration of a sensation. That's all is happening, the energy move without the story. But the present happening, stomach ache, ouch, the present happening is the sound and the vibration and the ache. That's whatever is without the interpretation of the mind. With the interpretation, still the same. That interpretation gets meaning because it is understood, because it speaks the same language. If the interpretation was to happen in a language that is not understood, it would be just a noise. Do you have something, Tony, coming up?
Imagination.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and imagination is really just a bunch of notions popping up, like conceptual notions that pop up, sometimes get written out, spelled out in the head, and into a worded sentence, and just some various sensory like imagery for the eyes, and some of it approximates memory, perhaps, approximations of memory, and imagery of something that may never happen in that way. In fact, none of it will ever happen in that specific way. But yeah, it's really just all the sensory stuff showing up: visual, sound, taste, feelings or whatever, and notions, conceptual notions, and that's it. And it's just, so there's no such thing as imagination.
Yeah, even conceptual notion, there's no such thing.
I often find it funny, after your beautiful spiels, we often said, does anyone have anything to say? And often there's nothing. And it made me think of, I can't remember who I heard it from, but they were like, words of truth are like birds in the sky. You see them or hear them, but when they're gone, there's only space. And just that was resonating with me. And as you're going through thoughts, conditionings, behaviors, emotions, just the sentence or question that kept reoccurring to me was just, what's always here?
That is beautiful.
I was thinking about my daughter's dog. She's just got a new puppy, and it does all these tricks now because it gets a treat. But I loved what you said about how there's nothing else going on there. It's an instinctive thing. It knows it's going to get food, so it rolls over, it shakes hands, it sits, it stays, it does all these things. Only 16 weeks old or something. And and I was thinking how, I live by myself, which is a joy. I never thought I would say that, but I absolutely love it. And so it's just what comes up that gets actioned, right? And then sometimes, I know I've said this before, sometimes I'll think of an action, an action will appear upon me, and then whatever the requirement is for that action will also appear.
Yes.
It's like, wow. It's like, and it really just shows me that we're action figures.
No Jane required.
No Jane, there's no there's no story about it. There's just a gratitude that it's just, I think it's even more apparent when you're by yourself, because it's just you, and you're not having to call upon anything to respond. You're just being with what is, although that's always what's happening. But it's, just immense gratitude. And, I thought it was cute when you said the dog doesn't have a story. Well, there's not much going on here either. But I also want to say also about how you started the spiel again, which was Sat Chit Ananda, being, knowing, loving to be, Nama Rupna. I mean, what a perfect way to start a spiel. Because, and even though it was started that way by Nisargadatta and started that way by Bob sometimes and started by you sometimes, what a good reminder to show us who we're not and what appears upon us.
Something you just said there, went back to one of the comments that somebody made on Facebook, and who can own a sound? Can a sound be owned? It's like, oh, I said that, and she said that.
Yeah, that's exactly
That's
right.
nonsense, total nonsense. Yeah.
Not anyone in particular.
Yeah, there's no one to own it.
That's right.
And even if there were, the notion of owning a sound is crazy.
And it's really, really beautiful too when that's registered, because if there's this one essence appearing as 8 billion sounds and 8 billion apparent people, which one is mine? There isn't one. Like so you all of a sudden you are the dumbest person in the world, you're the smartest person in the world, you have every bit of every IQ from that was ever done, all of it is you and none of it is you. Because and you are the villain, you are the criminal, you are the saint, you are the Buddha, you are the Jesus, you are the Hitler, like all of it that ever you are that.
Omniscient.
Exactly.
Yes. Omnipotence. And what Jane, when you were saying, it reminded me of another beautiful Bob's pointer that wasn't really his, that was coming from, probably 1,000 years earlier. Exchanging unborn Buddha mind for thought. Why exchange unborn Buddha mind for thought? When you say there's not much of a commentary going on, that's it. Like what a lovely idea. Even though there is no one who has a choice to exchange it or not to exchange, the pointer is still, it may invite the resonation. I have a couple of really, I don't know, I didn't read it yet, but I think are good comments, because one is from Bradley. He always has good comments, and so does everyone else. Bobbing in and bobbing out. Beautiful, thank you. And when rational creates mystery with authority in order to sell it to the emotional takes the bait, seeks the mysterious. For this person, it always comes back to bobbing in. There is no mystery of somewhere else. What's wrong with right now unless you think about it? That's gorgeous. Thank you. And Tanya says, and no need for contraction, tension, or annoyance to not appear, because there is no one behind those sensations that appear unlabeled in as knowing without a knower. True, there is nothing wrong. It is all imagination. Thank you. And yes, the rainy sky is as fine, as nothing wrong, as the sunny sky. The pleasant sensation as unpleasant. Without the other, there would be nothing. That's how the duality works. And Julia says, I am always grateful for those meetings and the ability to attend virtually. Yes, and thank you for attending and contributing. That always makes them much more easy in life. Did you want to have something? Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
What do you call someone alone in the ocean? Bob.
No, with no arms and no legs.
No, yeah. But listen.
In the ocean with no arms and no legs.
But if you simplify it down, what do you call someone alone in the ocean? The ocean of everything. Bob.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told that joke to Bob.
Yeah, I did
And I
too.
have it video.
Oh, that's
We did a whole, but he probably forgot the time. He probably forget from time to time because I would have told him. We did a whole lot of a whole lot of jokes one day. Yeah,
I think his
that's cool.
response
It's
was
cool telling
rough.
people jokes who forget your jokes.
It's the best laugh ever, isn't it?
Yes. So thank you, everyone, and.